Production car action now at Calder Park for the Yokohama Super Challenge. Let's have a look at the way they'll line up. On the front row of the grid, we should have Bradley Jones in the Starion, sharing the front row with Mark Gibbs. The second row of the grid, Kent Youlden, Peter Fitzgerald. The third row, Jeff Newton and Des Gibbs. The fourth row, Ray Spence and Roland Hill. The fifth row, Leo Gagan, Peter Granger. And the sixth row of the grid, Mike Glynn and Ken Grindrod. So it's a good mix of Commodores, of Starions, of Mitsubishi Cordias. And we shall see a very intriguing tussle here between turbos and V8s as the field gets away and Mark Gibbs in the Commodore gets the jump.
I tell you what, they're going to attack the first turn about 5 or 6 wide, but it looks like Mark Gibbs has in fact won the jump.
Kent Youlden in the middle, and who's that getting through on the inside?
Jeff Newton.
Jeff Newton, yeah, 3 in line as they go to the bottom corner.
So the big 5-litre V8 Commodore is getting into turn 1 very smartly indeed. Then Des Gibbs in 4th position, Roland Hill next. Brad Jones has fallen well away from the pace. He blew a head gasket in Heat 1 this morning. And look at this as Newton bustles his way through. Mark Gibbs cops the short back and sides across the top of the hill for the first time. Look at the black rich smoke coming out of Jeff Newton's Commodore. Then Gibbs. There's Des Gibbs in car 64. Roland Hill there as well.
Well, Newton came off the third row of the grid. Excellent performance inside 3 parts of a lap to be leading by 2 car lengths.
And it looks like problems for Brad Jones, who of course sat on pole position in the Perrier Starion. He's dropped well and truly back in the pack. It wouldn't surprise me to see him go into the pits after the completion of 1 lap. Bad luck indeed for Brad in this Yokohama Super Challenge. Pays $5,000 to the winner.
Super prize money for the Yokohama Super Challenge, and at the moment Mark Gibbs right in behind Newton, now pulling out from behind the slipstream, the two of them too wide down the straight. Kent Youlden the next driver, and I think Gibbs has snuck through into the lead. Gibbs in car 50, the Cabramatta Spares entry. Stood down there the other day and watched him go under brakes into this corner very deeply, and he's driving sensationally. Winner last weekend of the Stallion Stable 2WS Group E Series at Amaru.
Not only does the winner get $5 grand, Mark, the third place getter here gets more money than the man who will win the touring car championship round this afternoon. That's very funny arithmetic. I'd like to have that job.
Yes.
Smoke pouring out of Jeff Newton's car as he came through the series of right-left-handers out of Valvoline corner. And Peter Fitzgerald, you see, way up in the background there, back in 8th position in the Starion. Now, the intriguing thing here is the V8s in the first heat this morning did exactly this. They took off in the distance, but brakes is the Achilles heel with the Commodores. And when we get towards the end of this journey, I should think that we'll see perhaps the odd Mitsubishi Starion and even a Cordia up amongst them. That was certainly the way it happened this morning. There's Des Gibbs, Roland Hill, a glimpse there of Leo Gagan, Peter Fitzgerald and Ray Spence in his damaged Mitsubishi Starion.
Yeah, well, Des Gibbs in particular is not far away even at this early stage of the race, is he?
Well, Youlden's making a good run down here on the inside of Newton. At this stage of it, Gibbs looking pretty strong in the Commodore. Has actually opened up quite a good gap going into Valvoline once again.
Production car racing in Australia at the moment, generating some good racing and a good mix of brands. And there's been a rather unusual argument taking place here all weekend amongst the scrutineers and the competitors, because in fact what's happening is that the enforcers of the rules, the scrutineers, are saying that the turbo cars are not allowed to run as much boost as they've been running in the last few meetings. So as a consequence of that, all the Starions and the Cordias have had to pull their boost back a little. This has allowed the Commodores to get in and mix it a bit more. And that was certainly the root of Brad Jones's problems all day today. And when you mess around with cars, you start having problems, and the blown head gasket has put him out of the running. So Hill now in car 25, battling with Newton. Who is it having a glimpse there? It's Des Gibbs in car 64. Then Leo Gagan, Peter Fitzgerald, Ray Spence in the Starion. So the order is Mark Gibbs in the lead, followed by Kent Youlden, car number 56. This battle here, Roland Hill, Jeff Newton, Des Gibbs, Leo Gagan, Peter Fitzgerald and Ray Spence. And then the first of the Cordias being driven by Peter Granger in car number 8, and there's his red Cordia up in the background.
Once again, coming down to Valvoline. As you predicted, the Commodores have got the early run. And but as they come out of the turn, heading up to the next corner, let's recap how they're placed on the racetrack. As they come out heading down the straight, it'll be Mark Gibbs in car number 50. Well, Gibbs goes through.
3 Starions here, line astern, so the prediction is gradually starting to come true. Jeff Newton, the hard charger on laps 1 and 2.
The third of those Starions too is Leo Gagan. It's great to see him back and looking very competitive.
Leo's found a bit of form. Let's have a look at the Castrol scoreboard and look at the top 3 placings. The leader is Mark Gibbs. In second placing, we have Kent Youlden, and in third placing, Roland Hill in the Commodore.
The Commodore Capers continue here at Calder in the Yokohama Super Challenge for production cars. Mark Gibbs continuing to lead the race ahead of 56 Kent Youlden and car 25 Roland Hill, but there's a whole mess of Starions closing in.
I think your prediction was spot on, Neil. Let's have a look at one of the Commodores getting out of shape, just a tick or so, as they headed down the back straight, AGC straight.
Jeff Newton, I think, is it?
No, it's one of the other NCR entries. Car number 24 is Ken Grinrod. Boy, didn't he get it all out of shape.
He certainly did.
And backs off quite neatly onto the grass.
The rest of the field went through. As I was saying earlier, the race leader, he's studying his mirrors, be able to see the front of a few Starions starting to move up very close.
Gibbs is relatively safe at the moment, but the two guys who are going to have to worry in second and third, Kent Youlden and Roland Hill, have got Peter Fitzgerald lurking in the background in fourth place.
Peter Fitzgerald, then Des Gibbs in another Starion. Also Leo Gagan is in there, along with Ray Spence.
There's Hill going through. Peter Fitzgerald using the inside line on the racetrack. Gibbs on the outside. There goes Peter Fitzgerald. Just exactly how many laps it will take him to get on even terms with Mark Gibbs, we'll have to wait and see. Once again, they work their way out of Valvoline corner. It'll be up to Coke. There's Fitzgerald going through now.
Closing all the time. Fitzgerald on the third place getter.
Also note that Tony Gregg, who started the back of the field, position 19 in this field, teammate of Leo Gagan's, has improved, is up to 15th in the pack at the moment, which is not too bad at all for Tony.
Des Gibbs getting very close to the back of Peter Fitzgerald, and I think the front bumper bar on his Starion has already taken a bit of a belting. They come up now to the revised S's and then on to the new glow weave corner. And still looking out of our commentary box, we see Commodores slipping and sliding. Mark Gibbs in the lead. Kent Youlden, car 56. There's Roland Hill. Here's 4th, 5th and 6th. Peter Fitzgerald, Des Gibbs and Leo Gagan. And on the right-hand side of screen in the maroon car, it's Ray Spence from Canberra. Here comes Desi Gibbs down the outside. In fact, I think his car just a little quicker. And look at Leo Gagan. Where did he come from? Has picked up 2 cars in one foul swoop, but I think Fitzgerald has the line for the corner. Or does he?
Tell that to Leo Gagan.
That was a big move. He's also
playing
got
for
Gibbs
keeps.
up on the inside as well.
He trapped himself 1 out and 1 wide on that occasion and lost 2 spots in the process, but it was brave. It was worth having a go. And all the time they keep inching closer to these Commodores.
Well, I think Fitzgerald and Gibbs were 2 and 10 on what was happening in front of them. They weren't keeping an eye on Leo.
$5,000 up for first placing. It's worth fighting every inch of the way for. And a good pay in prize money right back down through the field in this Yokohama Super Challenge for production cars.
There's Leo Gagan.
Southern Mitsubishi entry.
It's good to see Leo back at the wheel again. It's his best run so far. They've got a very, very good team, and they're chasing the Group E stakes throughout 1986. After making that great run from the outside, he's got it all to do again.
Des Gibbs pulling out the Fitzgerald slipstream again, having a little look. You can see just how the cars get a bit unsettled as they cross some of the bumpier sections of the track where it joins onto the new portion down there. Certainly providing some headaches for some of them under brakes, but by gee, this new complex is meeting with plenty of approval from all drivers, sponsors and the enormous crowd here today. And look at Fitzgerald now, for the first time, has the opportunity of getting underneath the slipstream of the big Commodore of Roland Hills and doing something about the placing. A bit unfortunate today that we don't see John Burke from Gosford in the Toyo Brian Hilton Central Coast Express Toyota Supra. He unfortunately didn't get the opportunity to come to Calder as he originally thought. They're still doing some development on that car, so we hope to have the Supra and his little front-wheel drive Celica back with us at the next round at Amaru Park.
Fitzgerald having a go here, getting close.
Well, the tyres are a little unstable. Fitzgerald's going to find out just how unstable or how hard they've been worked already on the Commodores. Sitting in here behind 25 as they come down the front straight.
Yeah, biding his time on this section of the track where the Commodore's still got the horsepower.
Australian racetrack promoters agreed only 3 weeks ago that this class should run a national championship next year, and Fitzgerald, look at this, through on the inside. I think he got a wave, in fact, from Roland Hill. I do not know why. Certainly his hand came out the window for something. Fitzy understeering off the course, though. Oh, he just catches in time. Des Gibbs, though, with a real charge of adrenaline. He wants to get another bite at this cherry.
Whose tyres are going off?
Well, good question, Wilco. Roland Hill waved him through. Go on, carry on, he said. He went through there at 160 Ks.
Carried on laughing.
With wheelbarrows full of understeer, and away he went, out into some old rallycross territory.
Well, Fitzgerald did all the hard work, did it right, got through and then gave it up. So
oh,
Roland
look, he's
Hill
just been T-boned again. He's in all sorts of strife. Des Gibbs comes through and takes out his right-hand door.
back to fifth, back to sixth.
Shades of Calder last year in the Touring Car Championship.
Nice wrap. Everyone that's had a charge here with a Starion in the last 3 laps has wound out in the Toolies.
Ray Spence has already got some substantial damage on the front of his car from the first heat, so it's Gibbs, then Kent Youlden, Roland Hill, Des Gibbs, Leo Gagan, Peter Fitzgerald, Ray Spence and Jeff Newton.
Here comes Gagan down the outside of Gibbs again.
Fitzgerald's gone from third to seventh in half a lap.
Look at this.
He's having another scrape here on the inside, see if he can outbrake.
Well, that puts him back to eighth.
You see what happens when you lose the plot. These cars are so evenly matched, you have to really struggle to make up the placings.
Well, Gagan has gained out of all of that in the last lap of the race. Coming down to Coke Corner, there's Fitzgerald going through in the east side Mitsubishi.
The other interesting thing for this class shortly is the advent of the new turbocharged Mazda RX-7, which will add another brand, another flavour to the challenge. And there's Leo Gagan almost doing exactly what Peter Fitzgerald did, and that's understeering off the course a little out of control. So maybe my prediction was a little haywire, and it's the Starions that are having trouble pulling up because Mark Gibbs is still doing a very healthy job in the lead of this race.
He's looking good at this stage, and Starions are still sitting back behind him. Let's recap the placings. Gibbs leads in the Commodore. Youlden in the Commodore is second. Gibbs in the Starion is back behind them.
Last year, the 16-valve twin-cam Corolla was the only car to win every race in its class. Now everyone's a winner in the new twin-cam Corolla.
Back at Calder Park, and Mark Gibbs continues to lead here in the Yokohama Super Challenge, just ahead of car 56 Kent Youlden, but car 5 Leo Gagan has now slipped through into third place. So the first of the Starions has split the Commodore pack. That relegates Roland Hill to fourth place, and he's holding up a couple of other Starions behind him, including Des Gibbs and also Ray Spence in car number 70. But there's the mover in the field, Leo Gagan. Well, he knows all the tricks in the trade now, Crompton.
He's done a tremendous job. Didn't show a lot of form in the first heat. Maybe he was betting something in the car that I didn't know about. But in this second and important heat where the big money is up for grabs, Leo has come good in the Sutherland Mitsubishi modern motor entry. There's Ray Spence in car 70 behind him. So he's also had a very good run and recovered from a fairly nasty incident this morning when he got tangled up. Des Gibbs, the next man through on 64. He's in the silver recar entry there in the background. This is our third place driver, Leo Gagan.
Roland Hill's disappeared.
Yeah.
Oh, he's dropped about 4 placings in that last half lap.
Now the gap from second to third, that's Kent Youlden back to this man here, Leo Gagan, who's got 2 in the dirt at the moment. 3.3 seconds and closing. Ray Spence is also getting much closer to the back of Leo as a result of his low entry speed onto the straight.
You see what? He's going straight down the outside of him now.
Got him.
Then the capers continue back behind.
There's not too many straight Starions out there, is there?
No, they've all had a pitch at the the off-road material, particularly down through Valvoline Corner.
That gives a great indication of just what can happen to a driver when he makes a mistake at the start of a straight, at the top of the straight there. He reduced his speed onto the main straight entry. When you do that, your terminal speed at the other end is not nearly as good as it should be, and that's given Ray Spence the opportunity to go through. And more often than not, you hear people talking in the pits about, oh, how this fellow's got more horsepower than the other. Often it's not true, as you can see. Sometimes it depends on the way the driver handles himself coming on to a straight. Roland Hill in the pits in car number 25.
Here's the battle, though, for third place. And this is the tightest bit of action on the course at the moment. As Ray Spence has taken over third and trying to hold off Leo Gagan, who's done such a great job so far. Mark Gibbs continues to lead the race, of course, from Kent Youlden. They've got a pretty good break.
Well, Ray Spence in third, 5 seconds in arrears, but Leo Gagan slowing considerably on the straight at the moment, and Des Gibbs catching up very quickly, and Fitzgerald in the east side entry ducking across to the inside of the circuit as he sees it on our left-hand side of screen, and Jeff Newton's come out of nowhere, and he's back in the ballpark.
He's getting stronger, actually, Newton. He's come from probably 50 metres behind Peter Fitzgerald. Judging by all the rubber squealing that we can hear, there's all sorts of things going on down through the field. In fact, Des Gibbs has gone missing, has he not?
No.
Des Fitzgerald?
No.
If they wanted to put the rubber into the circuit, I'll tell you what, the Yokohama Super Challenge competitors have done that today.
Des Gibbs must have gone missing into the straight. That was the noise we heard in the background. So there's Spence. He's in third. This is fourth place Leo Gagan. There's Desi up in the background. So I think he's whistled down the end with a great charge and made a mistake.
That puts Fitzgerald up into fifth spot on the racetrack in car number 3 on screen at the moment.
Don't like doing this, but talking about things off screen, I've got a glimpse of Des Gibbs, who I think has got a very flat front right tyre, so that's his problem. So we're looking here at Peter Fitzgerald. He is back in fifth placing. And Jeff Newton must have also been tangled up in the drama because he lost a lot of ground in that previous incident on the lap before. Peter Fitzgerald, how the fortunes change in motor racing. He was up and arguing for third place. He then got boxed around the ears a little bit, and now he's recovering once more.
And there's, yes, he has had a little trouble, hasn't he?
Just a little. Goodness me.
Des Gibbs retires hurt from the Yokohama Super Challenge.
Well, I'd just love to know what's happened. He's got damage on both sides of the front of the car. I reckon that 2 cars have gone around the outside of him and completely chopped the nose of the car off. So we could sit up here all day and speculate as to what's happened there, but Des Gibbs would have the true story, and he'll be a fairly unhappy competitor at the moment as he comes back into pit lane, and so too will his crew. I suspected Jeff Newton was involved, and that's about as much as I can say at the moment. So we still have Mark Gibbs in the lead. There he is. Kent Youlden in second place, about 1.5 seconds behind, and a long way back now to Ray Spence in third. Mitsubishi Starion, that gap increasing all the time. Then back to Leo Gagan, then back to Peter Fitzgerald. So Mark Gibbs, withstanding all the pressure, doing it very nicely.
Yep, coming round, and they've only just got barely a lap to get themselves sorted out here, and I don't think the top 3 placings are going to change any. Mark Gibbs has done a great job here to forestall all the challenges.
He comes over the rise, drops down into Coca-Cola again. Here he comes in car number 50.
56 holding down second place is Kent Youlden, and a long way back to car 70, Ray Spence in third place. So the Starions weren't able to haul in the leading Commodore division in the Yokohama Super Challenge here at Calder Park this afternoon. All the accolades belong to this man on screen, car number 50, Mark Gibbs, as he comes round to the start-finish line. And a big effort. He's got it. Mark Gibbs is the winner. And Kent Youlden's done all the chasing, and third placing will go to Ray Spence. There they are on the scoreboard. Gibbs, Youlden and Spence in the Yokohama Super Challenge.